Greetings, Mark Garang here, a publisher of The Sun. And my guest today is Melissa Bailey, who's running for Congress on the Republican side. Melissa, how are you?
Good. Glad to be here today.
Yeah, good. Snowy day.
Snowy day. It's a beautiful day to see the area.
And just to remind viewers that Chris Pappas, who's our congressman now, he is giving up a seat. He's running for U.S. Senate because Jeanne Shaheen is stepping down. And so that means it's an open primary on the Republican side and the Democrat side, and we'll talk about some of your opponents later. And you know, a big issue is going to be name recognition for all of you, actually. So why don't we start just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. And I will say I'm glad to be here because I heard some of your other interviews with the other candidates, and you were reading the list of us and saying, Melissa Bailey, who the heck is this? So I'm glad to be here where you can put a face to the name. So my name is Melissa Bailey. I live in Bedford with my husband and our 3 children. We have a 17-year-old. She's getting ready to head off to college next year. A 15-year-old, he is going to be learning to drive soon, which is terrifying. And we have a 12-year-old who's in 6th grade. I was born and raised here in the Granite State in the Upper Valley. So that's where my mom's family is for generations. My grandma was the youngest of 14 and my grandpa was one of 5. So we have a lot of family up in that area. My parents are still up there. I graduated from Lebanon High School and went to Wake Forest University for college in North Carolina, studied accounting and finance, and started a career in accounting, public accounting to start, and then in banking before stepping away to raise my children and be home with them full time.
Cool. And so you're, so why are you running? I mean, well, and you haven't, you're the vice president of the Bedford Republican?
Yes.
So how's that? So you're involved with politics, obviously.
Yeah, that was really my first venture into politics. So I haven't run for office before, but I love our political climate here in New Hampshire. I love how involved and accessible candidates are, and I really enjoy being part of the committee and helping to elect our local leaders in Bedford. And as far as why I'm running, as a mom, I have just seen the direction that our country has gone in, and I just felt like I couldn't stay on the sidelines anymore. I really want to hand down a stronger New Hampshire and a stronger country to my children, and so we need leaders to step forward who are willing to fight for families. So I'm running to protect the American family and the American dream.
And so why starting with Congress? I mean, that's like, you know, starting at top level.
Absolutely. Well, it's what I feel called to do. The opportunity is there, as you pointed out. It's an open seat, so it's really important to capture the seat when it's open. And as someone, I'm a person of faith, and I felt deeply called to run for this seat in particular because I have a unique background that I think gives me the right qualifications for this seat. One being my background in finance and accounting, because right now the #1 issue I hear from voters around the state is affordability. I think politicians on both sides of the aisle are using that buzzword, and I have a background in financial and auditing. So early in my career I was an auditor, and I would go into companies and have to fully understand their financial statements and their internal processes in order to identify inefficiencies and recommend improvements and implement best practices. And that's exactly what we need to do in our federal government right now. So I have the skills to really implement change in Washington, and at the same time I have the heart of a mom. I've been home with my children for about 10 years, and I have seen what's gone on in the school systems and just the direction that they are pushing our children. One thing that really concerns me is the lack of patriotism and just this leftist agenda that has trickled into the school system, into our culture, into all of the institutions around us. And our children, they're learning to see the world through a lens of division and resentment, and they're learning about grievances rather than gratitude. So I think we need to do a much better job with the next generation.
And so how would that specifically, I know that, and the pendulum swings back and forth, excuse me, because certainly the left has, that's a good case, and certainly colleges are dominated by liberals, you know, and that's been going on for years and years. But now there's a trend where, hey, we're kind of cleansing the Smithsonian by taking out certain language about Indians and slaves and so forth. I mean, have you seen the American Revolution? Did you watch Ken Burns' piece? Have you seen any of that?
No.
Anyway, so that's, because there's a new documentary about the American Revolution, and it's very good, but it's controversial in the sense that there's a lot of sort of PC in it, some people think, and so it kind of points to but how would you make those changes? Like when you see things in the school, like specifically, what do you think? You're homeschooling, so you're not in a public school system, but like
My kids are back in public school now, but yeah,
Oh,
we
they
did.
are?
Yeah,
Okay.
we homeschooled when they were younger. My youngest is in 6th grade now, and they're back in public school. But our journey of schooling, we did some private school as well, and that's why parental rights and school choice are really important to me, because I think parents really need to be able to decide what's best for their children. And as far as making those changes in the schools, I also think education freedom, what we're doing right here in New Hampshire, is great for making those changes, because it does hold the schools accountable. It gives parents and families a little bit more choice when it comes to, we see what the school is teaching if it's the public school, for example, and we'd rather send our child to a faith-based school, or the public school isn't working for my child for this disability or for this reason, and so I'm going to pull my child out and homeschool them. So I think that's one way.
So you're talking about the voucher program.
Yes.
So were you involved with the voucher program?
With the EFA program?
Right.
Yes, I support the EFA program.
So were you part of it? In other words, when you were homeschooling, did you get money from the state?
No.
Is that
No, because it's new, and
Right.
yeah.
So just so for our viewers, I mean, they call it the voucher program, the Education Freedom Accounts, and that's where you can get $5,000 basically to send your child either to homeschool or to a private school.
Correct.
But it's changed. Now even some people are just against the principle of it, because it's people's tax dollars going to private schools. But in this last year, as you know, they've basically eliminated the income restriction.
They've expanded the program. Yeah,
They've
correct.
expanded,
and
so
voucher's
anybody
not quite the right term. It's education freedom account, and it's just the state portion of the funding that follows the student. So local tax dollars stay where they are.
Right, but right now, even if you send, I think even some conservatives say that, hey, if a family can send their kid to Phillips Exeter at $50,000 tuition, why should the taxpayers subsidize that for another $5,000? I mean, do you agree with that?
Well,
because originally it was started just for lower income families.
Right, and we're not really seeing that as far as who's using it. So, and there is a cap, so we're increasing the cap each year, so it is being expanded for every family that wants it. But yeah, I went to some of the hearings in Concord when they were talking about that bill and expanding it for all families. And more of the stories you hear are, again, the children with disabilities or special needs, or who are being bullied, who weren't thriving in public school and their parents didn't have the resources, or even if they did, to pull their kids out and do something different with them. So those are more the stories you heard. Or if we're going to talk about some of the cultural issues, and you said, how do we make changes? So the boys being in girls' spaces, things like that parents disagree with, and they didn't feel like their children were safe in school. So those, I think, were more the stories that you heard from people.
Okay, so you do, I mean, we'll leave that, but you do support the EFA the way it is now, and it's available to everybody.
Yes.
Okay. So the big news, I guess, today and the last is this whole Obamacare, the extension of the subsidies. And I don't know if you saw it because you've been traveling, but today the House decided they're going to propose something. The Senate, I guess, is going to look at it tomorrow, Thursday, and the House next week is going to, House in Congress, Washington, is going to propose something that's not going to include the Obama subsidies, the extension of them. How do you, if you were there, how would you support that or not?
Well, I don't think we can keep putting a patchwork of Band-Aids over a broken system. And if the system is affordable and accessible, why do we keep needing subsidies? So I don't think this is a sustainable long-term solution to healthcare. So I am not in favor of extending them. I think that we need to do something different with our healthcare system so that people really do have access and affordability. And I think back about when Obamacare, like when we implemented Obamacare, and what if we had envisioned a different system at that time, and we were now, 10, 12 years down the road of a system that invested in the health of our people, rather than enriching big pharma and insurance companies. And so that's the kind of system that we need. We need to be talking about healthier lifestyles, things that the Trump administration is starting to work on.
Right, but so the decision would be, I mean, it is true, and that's true. And as you know, and Trump, even in his first term, said he was going to do something about health care, and then it failed in Senate. He was going to eliminate it, and John McCain actually saved it with that one vote. But the vote is going to be either you extend it or not. So if you don't, if the House doesn't extend it, and I know in our company we have a half a dozen people, because we have this mixed plan, I mean, we've already got the notices where the premiums are going up hundreds of dollars. And so it's hard for me to think politically how people who have seen their premiums going up hundreds of dollars are going to vote for Republicans who just stop the subsidies. I mean, I guess let me ask you this. I mean, would you support extending it until something else is in place, or just stop it right now?
Well, I guess my answer to you is I don't know how people vote for Democrats when this is their system. This is the system that Democrats gave us that we're having to figure out how to make work, and it's not working. So I understand that with the current subsidies expiring, but they were put in place for a purpose, right, for COVID, and that has passed. So why is the system still at a level where people can't afford it? And I was talking to people today, it's not only about the affordability piece, it's about accessibility, and people are pulling out of these plans. So it's not even, people aren't even able to get plans under Obamacare any longer. So we need to really just look at doing something completely different with Obamacare.
I think the advantage, I think the Medicare Advantage plans are not available, but I think Obamacare itself, I don't think anybody, you can go onto the marketplace now and get a plan. I don't think people are denied under Obamacare itself. All right, so I guess President Trump is going on an affordability tour or something.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's funny, it depends which foot the shoe was on. Back when the Democrats were in power, the Republicans are saying, oh, the inflation's bad, which it was, and we can't afford it. Now that the Republicans are in power, Trump is saying it's really not so bad, and the Democrats are saying things are really expensive. I mean, is it affordable out there? If you go to the grocery store, things are certainly the prices haven't gone down any.
Yeah, everything is too expensive. Affordability really is the key right now, but we are dealing with an inflation crisis that was created under Joe Biden, and so I liken it to trying to right a very large ship, right? We can't just get back on track right away. It takes a number of small moves, and I think President Trump is working on that, on trying to get life more affordable, but it doesn't happen overnight. And we have a little bit of a messaging problem in the Republican Party, which is why President Trump is going out there and doing that affordability tour to tout the things that are starting to get more affordable, like the price of gas and the things that are going down in price, and just to figure out how we can get other aspects of life more affordable as well. But really, it is a crisis that was created under Obama. And so, again, I think it's just getting out there and saying, this is what we're doing to try to take care of that crisis and to get us back on track.
Yes, and it's true that under Obama, you know, we had the first tranche of money for the PPP under Trump. And then when Biden was in, it was the second tranche, which was probably too much. I mean, it was the same PPP money. And of course, at the same time, we had supply chain issues and all that. There was inflation. But by the end of the Obama administration, the inflation rate was coming down, and now it's going back up again. So, you know, it used to be in the twos, and it's not going up a lot, but it's definitely going up. And part of that is, you know, for whatever reason, the tariffs. So where do you stand on the tariffs? The tariffs have gone up, and sometimes President Trump takes them away. I mean, what's your sense of the tariffs?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of uncertainty, certainly as they've been rolled out. But I think that President Trump, he ran on putting America first, and that's what the tariffs are part of, putting American workers first, bringing industry back home. And there's a little bit of uncertainty as you make a change, right? But I think he's looking at the long-term vision of having these jobs in these industries back at home, and not only just for American workers, but also for American security. So I think he's doing exactly what he ran on, and I think we're going to continue to see benefits from them over the long term.
Okay, I mean so you do support the tariffs then?
Yes.
Right, because he just had announced a $12 billion bailout for the farmers, and part of the reason why we need a bailout for the farmers is because of the tariffs, and they couldn't sell soybeans to China, for instance. So it does seem a little counterproductive at times, the tariffs. In the old days, conservatives wouldn't support tariffs, as you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're at a different point in our history, right? So I think that, again, I think it's the America First movement that is trying to take back some of the things that have been pushed overseas. So I think that's important at where we are in our history right now, and particularly with China, that we make sure that we have these industries back at home.
Getting closer to home, you know, with being a congressperson, constituent service is a big deal. Yeah. So what's your view on the importance of constituent service if you are elected?
that's what I would be elected to do, is to serve the people of New Hampshire. So certainly that would be my focus, is how I can work for the people here in New Hampshire, in Washington. And I think as a mom and as someone who has raised a family, I have that heart of service and I know how to serve people. So that would be my focus, would be constituent service.
Do you have any connections to the North Country yet? I mean, or have you had any connections? In Bedford, Bedford to us is a little bit on the other side of the world up here.
Right, and I actually grew up in CD2 in the
Yeah.
Upper Valley, so I don't get up here as much as I would like. It is beautiful up here, and I certainly will get up here as often as I can. That's been a really incredible part of this run for Congress, is getting all over the district. We have beautiful towns and just a beautiful state, and so meeting people all around the district has been incredible, and I certainly will try to get up here to the North Country as much as I can.
Good. We'd like to see you.
Yeah.
Just kind of hopping around to some of the bigger issues. The whole thing that's going on in Venezuela. I mean, blowing up the little boats, and we might do something bigger than that. What's your sense of should we be in the Caribbean doing this? And of course, the question is whether it's just lawful.
Yeah, when it comes to the drug boats, so as a mom, I think a lot about safety for our children and having safe communities. And I think that's where the story should be. I think that's what we should be talking about, is the reason that this is happening is to keep our communities safe and to keep these drugs off our streets and away from our children. So I am in favor of keeping deadly drugs out of our country. With the rest of the situation there, I think with President Trump, some of it is wait and see. Again, I have faith that he is looking to make America stronger on the world stage, no matter where we are in the world. And we just don't always see the final step of what's going on, right? Because we went from like Riviera Gaza to like incredible peace deal in the Middle East over just a period of months, right? And so I think that there's something going on there, and we maybe don't see the end point yet, but I do have faith in our president and that he is looking out for America's best interests on the world stage.
Can you explain how? I mean, of course, the timing of it just seemed sort of incredible. That at the same time we're blowing up these little drug boats, apparently, is that he pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of importing like 400 tons of cocaine. Like, even Republicans are shaking their head at that. How would you explain that?
Again, I don't have an answer for that. I think I just kind of look long term, and I look at his goals overall, and I have faith that he's doing exactly what he ran on, and that we're gonna see America becoming stronger and more secure on the world stage.
All right. I mean, certainly when all the money quarterbacks look at the Democrats when Biden lost, and well, he lost for all kinds of reasons, right? Immigration was probably one of the big issues. Not a very good candidate with Kamala Harris. A lot of the identity politics that the Democrats were really pushing at that time, and and the Republicans won the president's executive Congress, and really controls Washington. And Democrats are like nowhere. And all of a sudden, in the last really 3 or 4 months, things have changed a little bit, where some of the special elections that where the Democrats have won. And just yesterday, the mayoral race in Miami, where a Democrat won, I guess the first time in 30 years. So what's your sense of the whole messaging thing, and should the Republicans fine-tune it at this point? Because in the world of the pendulum, it's just not on the right side of it at the moment.
Well, we know with the November elections that the Democrats kept our government closed specifically for that, so that they could win elections in November. So they kept our government held hostage for that reason, which was completely wrong. And I think that in special elections, you don't get the turnout, obviously. So we have to do better messaging around getting people out for those special elections. But I think the main thing is what President Trump is doing now with this affordability tour. I do think that that's where the messaging got off track, because he has been working on peace, like on the world stage, and working on things outside of America. And I think what I'm hearing from people as I'm out there on the campaign trail is that they would like the focus to be here at home, and particularly on affordability. So I think that's where the messaging is getting back on track.
All right, because and then the little irony with that is that Biden, one of his downfalls was that he was talking about things were affordable, and people just didn't feel it. Mm-hmm. So it's almost the same playing again, is that President Trump is out there saying things are affordable, and except for gasoline, which is there's a ton of gasoline, oil in the world now. They're not. I mean, I don't think regular people are feeling that things are very affordable. And so it seems like it's going to take more than President Trump out there just saying that they are, in the same way that Biden tried to do that, and that didn't work either.
Yeah, I think it's a story around, again, that we're moving back in the right direction, and hearing people and being in front of people and hearing what their concerns are and how to help make things more affordable.
All right, so if you talked about some of your general values, but if you're elected, what committees would you like to serve on? Like, what would be, what areas you'd like to be interested in?
I mean, I would like to serve wherever I can best serve the people of New Hampshire. So as a freshman, I think I would get into Congress, and I don't know that you have much say in that, but I have an interest in business and finance, certainly, and there are a lot of committees there that I think would appreciate having someone with an audit and a financial background. So
start there. Now I'm going to read the list of people who are also in the primary, because I'm not familiar with it, but there's Brian Cole, is Anthony DeLorenzo, who we actually interviewed, Elizabeth Gerard, which we haven't, and Holly Novoletsky, who we know because she ran last time. Yeah. So none of these people, including yourself, actually have a whole lot of name recognition. How are you going to do that? How are you going to separate yourself from them? Conservatives, I mean, like on the Democrat side, have basically the same kind of messaging. How do you think you're going to be able to stand out from the rest of the crowd, so to speak?
Crowd. It's doing this. It's the hard work. It's getting out in every part of our district just so people can meet me and put a face with the name, well, to get the name out there itself. But as far as how I distinguish myself, I'm an America First candidate. I am a conservative. I'm a person of faith. And I like to talk about those things. And I think those are just as important to this election as affordability. I don't think there's an American dream if we don't protect what's uniquely American. So I think it's the combination of affordability and our values and our traditions. And so that's really an important part of my platform as well. And as far as how I distinguish myself, or how I'm different, I will use the words of someone I met along the campaign trail. I was talking to a gentleman after I spoke, and we were having a conversation. And he said, "What I like about you, what is different, is that I look in your eyes and I can tell you're telling the truth, and I believe you." And so I thought that was an incredible compliment, because I'm not someone running for a political career. This isn't something I had long planned to do. I'm doing it on deeply held convictions and really making a difference.
Well said, Melissa. I think our time is up.
Okay.
And good luck, and we'll see you in the spring.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.